It is the most profound irony of modern American life that we spend 40 to 60 years of our lives chasing something we have never actually defined. We sacrifice our health, our time, and our most intimate relationships for money. Yet if you ask the average person where money comes from or how it works, you will be met with a blank stare. It is a primary success of the financial one. The reality is that you are playing a game with a 400-page rulebook, but you've only been shown the first 2 pages. The rest of the rules were written by the house for the house. We are going to tear down the veil and look at the invisible architecture that decides whether you will struggle for every breath or sleep peacefully at night. This isn't a conspiracy. It is simply the way the plumbing of the world was built. To understand the trap, you must first understand the bait. Most people believe money is a store of value, a physical representation of their hard work. Centuries ago, that was true. Money was gold, silver, or something with intrinsic worth. But today, money is nothing more than collective belief. We live in the era of fiat currency. In Latin, fiat means let it be done. The dollar in your wallet has no value because it is backed by gold. It hasn't been backed by gold since Einslade, 1971. It has value because the government decreed it, and more importantly, because we all agreed to believe them. When you receive a digital deposit in your bank account, you aren't receiving wealth. You are receiving a claim on wealth. You are holding obes, a promise. You are holding a promise. The terrifying truth is that if everyone woke up tomorrow and decided that these digital numbers were worthless, they would be. The government cannot stop a collapse of faith. The entire global economy is a skyscraper built on the clouds of public confidence. Centuries ago, a small elite realized that if they could control the definition of trust, they could control the world. By making money seem mystical and overly complicated, they ensured that the average person would never question it. If you don't understand the system, you blame yourself when you fail within it. You think you're bad with money, when in reality, you're just playing a rigged game. Think about where money actually comes from. You might think the government prints it. They don't. Most of the money in existence is created by private banks the moment they issue a loan. When you deposit $1,000 into a bank, the bank doesn't keep it there for you. Through the system of fractional reserve banking, they are only required to keep a tiny fraction, often 10% or even 0%, and they lend out the rest. Gunner me Felitz, but it's deeper than that. When a bank gives a $100,000 mortgage to a homebuyer, they don't take that money from someone else's savings. They simply type the numbers into a computer. Money is created out of thin air through the act of borrowing. Every dollar in your pocket is someone else's debt. If every debt on earth were paid back tomorrow, there would be no money left in the system. Here is the fatal flaw. It is the glitch that ensures the system must eventually consume everything. When a bank creates $1 million in loans, it creates the principal, but it demands back the principal plus interest. If the bank creates $1 million, but expects $1.1 million back, where does that extra $100,000 come from? It doesn't exist yet. The only way for that interest to be paid is for the bank to issue more loans to more people, creating more money. This creates a mathematical requirement for perpetual growth. The system is a shark that dies if it stops moving. It requires a constant stream of new debtors to pay off the old ones. This is Liam Stephen, not a bug. Your money must lose value so that the debt machine can keep spinning. If the system is so predatory, why don't we revolt? Because the architects realize that physical chains are expensive and inefficient. It is much better to let people enslave themselves through their own desires. The system has rebranded debt as credit. It sounds positive. But debt is simply the theft of your future labor. And ina risargangs, yeni you labor. When you buy a $50,000 car on a 6-year loan, you are committing your future self, a person who might be tired, sick, to work for that car manufacturer for the next 2,190 days. Debit allows you to time travel your consumption. You get the dopamine hit of the new purchase today, but you pay for it with the most valuable asset you have, which is your time. Social media and modern advertising are the psychological wings of the financial system. I'd sevi ichimidivi, the financial system. You weren't born wanting a luxury watch or a brand new SUV. You were trained to want them. The system uses status signaling to ensure that as soon as you start making more money, you spend more money. This is Liam Stephen. It keeps you on the hedonic treadmill. The goal is to keep you middle-class rich. It makes you look wealthy on the outside while having a net worth of 0 on the inside. A person with 5 years of living expenses in the bank is dangerous to the status quo. They can say no. They can quit. They can think. A person with 3 max due credit cards and a massive mortgage is predictable and controllable. The tragedy is that the same rules that destroy the poor are used to wrench the elite. It's the same hammer. One person uses it to crush their thumb, the other uses it to build a palace. The 99% use debt to buy liabilities. They buy things that lose value like cars, clothes, and electronics. They pay for these with after-tax income, meaning they have to work twice as hard to pay off the interest. The 1% use debt to buy assets. They buy things that produce cash flow like real estate, businesses, and stocks. They use the income from the asset to pay off the debt. The system is rigged to favor those who play the asset game. Interest on investment loans is often tax deductible. The wealthy use other people's money to grow their wealth, effectively getting a discount from the government to get richer. Meanwhile, the average worker is taxed at the highest rate on their labor, leaving them with pennies to try and save. You cannot leave the financial system entirely unless you want to live in a cave, but you can stop being its victim. Freedom begins the moment you stop blaming yourself for a game that was designed for you to lose. The biggest obstacle to financial freedom isn't the bank. It's your desire to look successful. The system wins when you try to impress people you don't even like. The first step to freedom is becoming invisible. It means living far below your means so you can buy back your time. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. On debt, it is a cancer that eats your life. On assets, it is an engine of freedom. If you start investing even small amounts early, the math eventually takes over. But the system knows this. That is why it keeps you focused on monthly payments rather than total costs. The ultimate currency is not the dollar. It is time. Every financial decision you make should be viewed through the lens of how much of your life this is costing you. When you stop buying things to fill an emotional void, you stop needing to sell your soul to the corporate machine. We are living through a massive shift in the global architecture. In Saloni, the debt levels of the United States surpassing $37 trillion in 2025, are a signal that the old game is reaching its limits. You understand that money is trust, debt is a weapon, and your attention is the prize. You can choose to keep playing the status game. You can keep chasing the next hit of consumption, or you can choose to build your own fortress. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. The system relies on your apathy. It relies on you clicking away and forgetting this. The game hasn't changed, but your position in it has. Every paycheck you earn is a battle for your future autonomy. Every time you refuse a loan for a depreciating asset, you are reclaiming a piece of your soul from the ledger. The bankers know that an educated population is a dangerous population. That is why financial literacy is never a core subject in our schools. They want you to know how to solve for X, but never how to solve for your own freedom. They want you to be a specialist in a narrow field, so that you remain dependent on the wider machine for your survival. But once you understand that debt is the fuel of the modern world, you can decide whether you want to be the fuel or the driver. The global debt clock is ticking at a rate that the human mind can barely comprehend. Yet the stores are full and the lights are on. This disconnect between reality and the financial representation of reality is where the danger lies. When the gap becomes too wide, history shows us that the system resets. Whether that reset is inflationary or deflationary doesn't matter as much as whether you own assets or debts when it happens. If you own your home, your tools, and your skills, you can survive a reset. Stop looking at your bank balance as a score of your worth. Start looking at it as a measure of your options. The more options you have, the more free you are. The system wants to narrow your options until you have only one, to keep working for them. Reclaiming your mind is the first step toward reclaiming your wallet. Do not let the glitter of the digital world blind you to the heavy weight of the financial chains. Take a step back. Look at the architecture. Decide to walk a different path. It won't be easy. It won't be fast. But it will be the most important thing you ever do. We are told that the American dream is about ownership, but the system has turned it into a dream of perpetual leasing. You lease your car, you lease your home through a 30-year mortgage, and you even lease your identity through subscription services and credit scores. You never truly own anything if a missed payment can take it all away. True ownership is the absence of debt. True wealth is the ability to walk away from any situation without situation. Fear. We have been conditioned to fear poverty, but we should actually fear the loss of our agency. The system wants you to be a consumer first and a citizen second. It wants your desires to be louder than your logic. You can choose to invest in yourself instead of investing in the profits of the mega banks. The road to freedom starts with a single, uncomfortable realization: you have been tricked. But being tricked is not a permanent condition. It is a moment of clarity. From this moment on, every dollar you spend is a vote for the life you want to lead. Are you voting for more chains, or are you voting for the gate to open? The world is full of people who are rich in things, but poor in time. Do not be one of them. You not. Build a life that doesn't require a loan to enjoy. Build a future that belongs to you, not to a board of directors in a skyscraper. This journey isn't just about numbers on a screen. It is about the quality of your Tuesday mornings. It is about the ability to look your children in the eye and know that you aren't leaving them a legacy of debt. It is about standing On your own. On your own, 2 feet, in a world that wants you on your knees. The architecture of entrapment is massive, but it is not invincible. It relies on your participation. So stop participating in the ways that hurt you. Start playing a different game. Start living for yourself. If this perspective changed the way you look at your bank account, then you've already taken the first step toward the exit. The rules are always shifting, and the house never stops trying to reclaim its edge. If you want to keep peeling back the layers of this system and learn how to actually build wealth that lasts, you need to be part of this conversation every single week. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are breaking down the systems that shape your life, one video at a time.